Hello, I'm Peter Kenworthy.
And I'm Lindsay Mills.
And this is Almost Live, a weekly show designed to help you find out who's who and what's what in Telluride and Mountain Village.
On this week's episode, Kathrine Warren will bring us her Warren Commission on the local music and entertainment scene. And then we'll have conversations with David Averill of the San Miguel Authority for Regional Transportation and the Mayor of Mountain Village, Laila Benitez.
We'll have a JamCast segment featuring the Monophonics, who played here at the Opera House earlier this year in the winter. And Patrick Laguens, our wine geek food freak, will join us to show us how to prepare Linguine alla Puttanesca. And then we'll see a profile of Babies of the Bush, a unique store here in Mountain Village that's doing good things.
The Telluride Historical Museum will bring us a Miner's Minute, and then we'll head to the Wilkinson Public Library for a device advice. Then we will check out hip-opening asanas with our favorite yogi, Barbara. But for now, let's head over to Peter and Kathrine for this week's Warren Commission.
Thank you, Lindsay. Here I am with Kathrine Warren of the Warren Commission to talk to us a little bit about music and entertainment in the coming week. And I guess starting off with Blues and Brews, right? Last really big festival of the summer.
The last big push of the summer, and then looking at the events calendar after this weekend, it sort of tapers down to.
Not to discount the Horror Film Fest.
Correct.
And Cars and Colors.
And Original Thinkers. But
Good
as
point.
far as music goes.
As far as music and as far as really big crowds.
Yeah, and so Blues and Brews sold out several months ago, but you can still, last I looked online, there were still tickets for their Friday and Saturday juke joints.
Okay.
So the way that works is a $30 ticket grants you access to several venues in town in Telluride in the evening, and it's sort of first come, first serve based off of capacity. So of course, if you're going to the Liberty or the Opera House, get there early if you really want to see the bands. And then of course the Blues stage, which is the Hanley ice rink left over from Telluride Film Fest, converted into a big stage. They will have shows as well, and they've got a large capacity.
Have you been in that venue?
I have. It's a lot of fun.
Good.
I saw Shaky Graves there.
And the acoustics are?
Yeah, I had my doubts. I'm a little bit of a music snob these days, and I had a blast. Shaky Graves, one of my favorite artists, personally one of my favorites, played 2 years ago, I believe, and it was a highlight of that year's Blues and Brews.
That's Steve Gumbel. May I just say he was our special guest last week because he was frankly just too busy this week to get into the studio to do an interview, but that boy's come a long way.
Yes, and he's got great taste in music, or else we've got the same taste in music. I'm not sure how that works.
And maybe that's the same thing.
Yes. On Friday night, they've got JJ Gray and Mofro, a great band at the Hanley, the Blues stage in Town Park. That's really key for the campers. If you're camped in Town Park, you can just head on right over to the rink. And then Monophonics, a popular band at the Sheridan Opera House that's played in the winter. And then they're at the Opera House again. And then a fabulous artist named Sun Little plays at the Liberty on Friday.
Sun Little.
Yes. That was one of the bands that Steve Gumbel highlighted to me when I did my story for the Summer Adventure Guide, part of my writing gig. It's they're kind of like a up-and-coming blues rock.
From where?
It's a very good question. I do not remember.
That's all right.
But they were one of Steve's bands of must-see bands. We're going to be hearing about them moving forward after the festival.
Okay.
And then on Saturday night, Anders Osborne and Samantha Fish, sort of the king and queen of Telluride Blues and Brews, they play at the ice skating rink. And then California Honey Drops are at the Moon. And then there's comedy and other bands at the Liberty. And all of that is a $30 ticket plus fees. So 30 and some change. And it's, like I said, first come, first serve. So go online to TellurideBlues.com, click on the tickets. It's actually one of the only tickets you can still buy because everything else is sold out. And then if you don't have a pass, be sure to check out the Donovan Daly Speakeasy Jazz Quartet at the Phoenix Bean. They're going to be playing their weekly slots a few more weeks until, I believe, through Horror Fest, till we really die down. And then Kenny Goldman plays Saturday at 6:30 at the Phoenix Bean, and of course the Telluride Gold Kings on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then one more little plug for the Sheridan Opera House. We just added a new show to our calendar to wrap up the summer, and it's a fabulous band band called Sway Wild, and the Stillhouse Junkies, and they play Friday the 21st at the Opera House.
At the historic Sheridan
Yes,
Opera
just
House.
a $15 ticket with fees all included, and just sort of a last-minute end of summer dance party. And Stillhouse Junkies, fun fact about them, they're out of Durango. Actually went to preschool with the fiddle player, and they won, I believe, second or third place in the Telluride Bluegrass Festival band contest. So they're an up-and-coming bluegrass band. And people are raving about Sway Wild.
As I'm looking over your shoulder into the little black book, and I'm thinking about this whole past summer and all the activity, all the events, how busy it's been. And I just ran into Ray, the general manager of the new Sheridan Hotel, and was talking to him. And he was saying that consistently over the past several years, the summer just keeps becoming busier and busier. And he wasn't complaining. And of course, those guys have expanded their venues. They're operating like 10 different.
He's booking at the Phoenix Bean, or Kathy, his assistant.
And they've got the rooftop now, and they've got extra chairs in the lobby, and they're doing all these different things. So they are definitely busier because of that, but they're also just busier because of the volume of visitors that's coming through town. I mean, I'm looking at your book, and it's full.
Yes, it's been a busy, busy summer, and just at the Opera House alone, this was my 7th summer working there. In previous summers, we'd have 1 or 2 of our own concerts, and then the festivals would come in, and we had like 3 times as many Sheridan Arts Foundation produced concerts because A, the bands want to come here, and B, we can't say no to them because they're so fabulous, and we know that there is the volume. And, not everyone's a big skier, believe it or not, myself included. And, summertime in Telluride really is pretty magical.
It's
so you might as well catch some music while you're at it.
We're going to be talking to Laila Benitez later in the show.
Yes.
And just as in Telluride and Mountain Village,
absolutely,
more and more going on.
Yep, their weekly series, Music on the Green, they brought in some amazing shows. I really am bummed I missed out on the Kohlars last week.
And Club Red, and just lots of things going on in the region, no doubt.
Yeah, we're keeping you busy, folks. You can't come to Telluride. If you come to Telluride and you say you're bored, that's probably your own fault because we've got plenty of opportunities for folks.
I don't think we want to blame anyone. Anyway, Kathrine, it's been a real pleasure working with you again this season.
Thanks
it's been
for
a really
me.
good summer, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you for all your help.
Thanks, Peter.
Now we're going to join our friend, Patrick Laguens, the wine geek food freak, to learn how to make another Italian pasta dish, and we're going to see a profile of Babies of the Bush.
Hi, I'm Patrick Laguens. Welcome to another episode of Wine Geek Food Freak. Today I want to show you an old dish called Linguine alla Puttanesca, or Linguine of the spicy whore. We've made some beautiful tomato sauce earlier. You can check that out on episode 472. Not really. All we're doing is I got some hot heated oil here, extra virgin olive oil. I'm taking some chopped up garlic. I'm going to blend that garlic. I'm putting in some anchovies here, maybe 3 of them. I'm going to put in some capers and some black olives. You can use Moroccan oil cured, that's a good one too. I'm just using some nice black olives. You can see the garlic is blonde. I'm going to have to take my wine and pour it in here to stop that process. All right, I'm going to take some red chilies. I'm just going to crush those up in there. So the whole idea of the dish is supposed to be fairly spicy, so I'm going to use a few of these. Boy, you can smell it. The white wine with those anchovies is amazing. So I'll start with 2, and we'll check that spice level there at the end. I also like, even at this early juncture, put in a little parsley. I'm going to put more in the end for decoration, but for now, we're going to do this. We're going to reduce from here until that white wine is almost gone, and we have dissolved our anchovies. You can also use a whisk to help that process along. Okay, so now I've reduced my white wine. You can see that kind of viscosity in there. That's perfect. That's exactly what you're looking for. Now I'm going to add some of that tomato sauce that we made. And then I'm just going to mix those together. We'll let that heat up for a second. And then we'll add our linguine. Nice al dente linguine. All right, now you can see that the sauce is starting to talk to you right there. So we're going to make sure all this stuff on the side is off, because that's the flavor, like we always say. That's where the sodium lives. Now I'm going to add my al dente linguine. I like to go straight from the salted water straight to the pan if I can. I've added my pasta. Now I'm just going to give it a little toss here, just to coat all that linguine. And then I'm just going to let it heat up for a second. And then we're ready to go. I'm going to check my salt content at this point in time. Could use a tiny little touch. can always add salt, but you can't take it away. So always do that at the end. Ooh, it's nice and spicy too. And here we go. Linguine alla Puttanesca. The key word in here is linguine. It's not Puttanesca, so it's more about the pasta than it is about the sauce. So you don't want to drench in sauce. In fact, if you're done eating and there's a lot of sauce left on the plate, it's too much sauce, just like you know. Put some parsley right on top. Linguine alla Puttanesca. Now remember, all you need is some good ingredients, a few minutes of your time, some care, and you can eat like me, Patrick Laguens, the wine geek, food freak.
My name is Yvonne Reed. I am the owner of Babies of the Bush, Wildlife Art Gallery and Gift Shop and Conservation Center in Mountain Village, Colorado. The center was started in order to support the South African Peace Park's concept of joining existing conservation areas that straddle national borders across Africa. This by means of elephant migratory corridors, thus ensuring biodiversity, supporting socio-economic development, keeping strong, healthy genetic gene pools by allowing animals to crossbreed, and a financial stable tourist industry for all countries in Africa. The upliftment of Africa guarantees the safety of our wildlife. The protection of Africa's wildlife now means Africa's lifeline for the future. Please join me in raising funds for the protection of the African rhino and elephant under the auspices of Peace Park, South Africa. Visit Babies of the Bush and see how you can help.
Hey, this is Teresa from the Telluride Historical Museum with your Miner's Minute. Did you know that our museum used to be a hospital building? In 1896, this structure opened to serve the booming mining community and functioned up until 1964. Our location underneath Tomboy Road made the hospital an important lifeline to the high country settlements. Mining was dirty and dangerous work, and accidents were a constant hazard. Our medical exhibit here touches on the hardships and dangers of living in an isolated mining town before modern medicine. For example, this woven wicker litter was used to transport patients from the mines who needed medical attention to the hospital. This early version of a rescue sled gave rise to the term, "He's a basket case." You can learn more about our medical history by visiting the museum before we close for off-season, Monday through Saturdays, 11 to 5 p.m., Thursdays until 7, and Sundays 1 to 5. Thanks, Telluride TV.
Welcome back. I'm here with David Averill of SMART, the San Miguel Authority for Regional Transportation. So it runs Telluride region and beyond, correct?
Sure. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
So tell us how you got your start in Telluride.
Well, I moved here for a job with SMART back in November of 2017. So I've been here 8-9 months, something like that. It's been a blur, but it's been a fun blur, both on the social side as well as the professional side. Just a lot going on. Settling into a new home, a new community.
Plenty of people to meet, lots of things to do.
Lots of bike riding, things like that.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. So tell us a bit about SMART. It got its start officially in 2016.
Right.
And tell us about the progress that you've seen over the course of almost a year now.
Yeah, well, a lot of housekeeping stuff up front. Literally the first day in the office, I had to have the power turned on, get the lights turned on in the office.
Oh, good.
And buy myself a desk and stuff like that. So not a lot of transit type work, but work nevertheless, was the first few months. And now we're looking at doing some things differently. Some change is happening, and one of the changes that we'll be doing here this fall is a change in operator for the Norwood and Down Valley routes. That will be no longer operated by the town of Telluride, but we'll be working with Telluride Express to do that from here on out.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's a big change for us. I think what the public will see there are smart branded buses. As much as we love the Galloping Goose brand, that really belongs to the town, and so we can't co-opt that as much as I'd like to. But we'll see smart wrapped buses out there, and our branding and things like that will start showing up in the community here in the next few months.
Fantastic. And Telluride Express knows the region really well, so pretty much a turnkey
Yeah,
partner.
not only that, but they work with other RTA providers around the state. So they actually have a contract with CDOT, the State Department of Transportation, to run a route, and then they also work with our friends over in Gunnison, the Gunnison Valley RTA, to run that route between Gunnison and Crested Butte. So not that they're just familiar with our local operating environment, this is what they do, aside from the shuttles you see from the airport and stuff like that. So we're excited to work with them.
Absolutely. And as you see more and more people commuting from out of town into town for work and things like that, school even, it's becoming an increasingly popular route, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many people are you seeing moving on the smart routes these days?
You know, I don't have the exact ridership numbers at my fingertips because we're doing so much. But I think that the Norwood route's pretty popular. Those buses are nearly full these days, is what I'm hearing. A lot of that's because the school's back in session and the kids are coming down.
Yeah.
I also think that the switch to a 4-day school district up in Norwood maybe had a little bit of an impact on that. I have a feeling that, and we should talk to Mike Gass to see, but I have a feeling maybe more kids are coming down here to go to school as a result of that. But that's a good, probably 60, 70 riders a day just on those routes. Down Valley, I don't have a really good feel for. I feel like we can improve on that one, and that's something that we'll be really focused on this fall as we go through a strategic operating plan process and some marketing efforts to see how we can boost ridership on that route. The Rico pilot route that we started back in February, the little used Sprinter van, is going gangbusters.
Yeah.
It's a good problem. We're nearly at capacity every day now with the school kids back in session on that one. So we are looking for a way to partner with Rico to put a bigger vehicle down there, hopefully get some more capacity so that we can start picking folks up at San Bernardo, maybe the Ophir Road interchange and things like that, ski ranches.
Yeah.
So it's going good.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That's great. Well, it sounds like you're keeping very busy. Anything that you want to touch on with the year coming up?
Yeah, you've probably all been reading a lot in the paper about the special districts and struggling with the Gallagher Amendment impacts. That's no different for us. So this next year, we will be taking a little bit of hit on the property tax collection that we get, but we're in no position to go back out for a mill levy increase at this point. We're a brand new organization. We want to kind of prove our mettle with what we've got and kind of work through this. Fortunately, CDOT has agreed to help us out with some grant funding to make up for that loss in Gallagher Amendment revenues, or the property tax revenues that we won't see. So I think it's going to be a wash for us. The downside, if there is a downside to that one, is that it might inhibit our ability to expand things as quickly as we thought we might want to. I still think there's some changes we can make, what I call low-hanging fruit, where we can improve some routes and do things differently with some of the resources we already have and improve access and capacity. But we're not in any position to start any huge new routes like to Montrose or anything like that, as much as I would like to do that. I think that's on our horizon, but not within the next 12 months.
Got it. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
It seems like you have a lot of big plans and, a lot of growth coming up here.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm here.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, we hope to grow the system, and my whole goal with this thing and taking this job is to really help SMART become something sort of like what RAFTA is over in the Aspen and Roaring Fork Valley. Something that people have a lot of pride in. It has a positive benefit in their life, and they see that, and it becomes a real source of community pride and regional pride. So that's the long-term goal. Hopefully we can get there.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, if you have any opinions on new routes or anything that SMART can do for you, you can take a survey online at smart.com, smarttelluride.com.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, no problem, anytime.
Now we'll head over to a JamCast session with Monophonics, who are performing at this weekend's Blues and Brews Festival.
We're gonna do this one right now. It's called Hanging On.
Ready?
Don't keep on saying it's too late, that you know right from wrong. holding on to what you gave me, but you keep on pushing me on. We know we're fooling ourselves, so you put your mind at ease, knowing that we can't do it again. But I keep on begging you, please, please, baby, don't leave me hanging on, well, baby. Don't leave me hanging on, baby. Got me pacing the floor at night, baby, about to walk an extra mile. Keeping me here for all your own reasons. I can see it in your smile. Emotions taking over now. I say, baby, won't you come home? I remind you of all our happiness. I say, girl, ain't nobody wanna be alone, no, no. But you keep on, baby, hanging on.
Kelly Finnegan on the Hammond organ, y'all. Make some noise, Telluride.
It was a great piece by the Monophonics, who were here earlier this year. They are performing at Blues and Brews on Friday on the main stage at 3 p.m. So definitely be sure to catch them there.
Yeah, Telluride TV caught up with the Monophonics this past winter, and we like to do that. We like to go and check out community events and activities. We work with lots of local businesses and organizations doing promos and profiles. We work with kids at the schools. We work with the government. If there's anything interesting going on in and around Telluride and Mountain Village, Telluride TV would like to be involved.
Speaking of community involvement, Telluride TV is a public access channel that depends on public support. We would like to give a shout out to a couple of our most generous supporters, the towns of Telluride and Mountain Village, the Telluride Foundation, and the Telluride Ski and Golf Company.
And speaking even a little bit more about community involvement, this next piece, Device Advice, is a collaboration between the Wilkinson Public Library and Telluride TV and features our friends Hank and Gloria, who this week are going to be telling us about e-resources at the library.
Hi, my name's Gloria Chavera.
My name's Hank.
Welcome to Device Advice, brought to you by Wilkinson Public Library. Today we're going to talk to you about portable Wi-Fi hotspots. Hank, do you want to tell us what they're all about?
Have you ever heard of a portable Wi-Fi hotspot? Well, if not, you're in luck, because we're going to tell you about them. They're basically these little devices that you can plug into your wall that'll give you internet. And we have them for rent at Wilkinson Public Library.
Not for rent. You can borrow them for free with your library card.
My bad. Yeah. We have some from Sprint, which work better in Mountain Village. And we also have
Verizon hotspots that have pretty good coverage everywhere.
But if you have spotty Verizon cell service somewhere, the hotspot's probably not going to work very well either.
Nope. Stop by the library to find out more.
But just so you know, these hotspots are hot, so you need to come by and get on the list.
Thank you for tuning in to Device Advice. See you next time.
Thank you, Hank and Gloria, for the device advice, and thank you, Wilkinson Public Library, for working with Telluride TV on that wonderful series. I am here now with Laila Benitez, Mayor of Mountain Village. Laila, welcome.
Peter.
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. I've been wanting to catch up with you actually all summer, so I'm glad we're getting you in the last summer episode, the last official summer episode. We may try to squeeze one more in, but.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad this worked out.
Yeah. Before we get into the sort of juicy business of being mayor of Mountain Village, I just wanted to ask you about your background a little bit, how you came to Mountain Village, when that was, and why that was.
Yeah. I think I share the same story as a lot of people. I came here because the man I love brought me here on my first vacation with him.
And that would be Anton Benitez.
That's Anton Benitez.
Who heads up Telluride Mountain Village Owners Association.
Yeah. So Anton and his family have been here for decades, and they have a place up here, and he brought me here in '97, and I adored him, but I looked around and I thought, you know, if this doesn't work out with him, I still need to remember how to get back here.
This is the end of the world.
This is home, yeah. And it was just this, I was just mesmerized from the beginning.
Oh, so you're saying you were captivated right away. I was thinking you were thinking to yourself, this is the middle of nowhere. What am I going to do here if this doesn't work out?
No, I grew up in Los Angeles. I didn't know places like this existed. And it was, I mean, it was an immediate reaction. Tears rolling down my cheeks. Kodo was on, they were playing Sir Mix-a-Lot. And I remember every second of it, and it was like, I've got to find a way back here no matter what. Right. And that's what we did. You know, we came back. We were working, and we still managed to come back 3 or 4 times. Anytime we had a few days off. And we even took a position in Colorado Springs just because it was that much closer to being here. And then, you know, eventually, 8 years ago, we were both working in the medical device industry, and we were traveling a lot and not seeing each other. By then, we were married. We'd gotten married here. And we thought, okay, well, where are we happiest? And it was, oh, well, that's a no-brainer. And it was like, well, but we can't do that.
Right. That's a resort. That's a vacation place.
Yeah, who picks up and moves to Telluride? Like, that's something maybe you do if you're lucky when you retire, or if you're lucky enough to be born here. And I don't know, it was one of those crazy moments where we talked each other into it, and sure enough, we moved here.
So you came without really knowing what you were going to do?
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
I
did the same thing.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it's like, you know what? Life is short. And we can wait to be happy when we're 60, or we can try and be happy, you know, at that point we were in our 30s. That's long gone now. But we decided to make the jump, and we did. And the one thing that we promised each other is when we move here, we want to be, you know, growing up in big cities, you don't have an opportunity to really be a part of a community. Right. And we thought, if we do it, we want to really be a part of the community. So no moving to Telluride and just making the same habits of getting so involved with our careers or whatnot. we wanted to make this a complete lifestyle change.
Well, if I may say it, there's no way to imagine you or Anton being more involved than you are with the community. And now you're actually the mayor of Mountain Village. So I want to talk a little bit about that, how it's been. That happened when exactly?
That was in July of last year.
July 2017, that's
right.
what I thought. So you've had just over a year. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you just about, first of all, how much of a change that's represented in your life, because now you're even more than ever in the public eye. And just a little bit of generally about the experience of being mayor, and then we can get into some of the specifics of things you've been dealing with in Mountain Village.
Yeah, it was a big change. Up until then, I had a small event business and put on the Integrative Wellness Summit and other things like the Kids Zone that I was really proud of. But once I was chosen as mayor, it became apparent that, it's going to be hard to have that same career and be as objective as possible with everything that comes in front of a mayor. So I put my business on hold, and being mayor has been a full-time job now.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And so do you feel pressure in that position? Because there's a lot of scrutiny, and obviously, like most communities, but especially rural mountain resort towns, there's a certain divide in terms of the politics and people's preferences and needs and urgency. So do you feel pressure as mayor? Or is it pretty chill?
I would say, I wouldn't use the word chill, but I would say, I'm surrounded by a phenomenal team on town council. We are all working in this together, so that makes it infinitely easier. I can't imagine a stronger team at town hall with everyone that's working there, led by Kim Montgomery, our town manager. So that takes a lot of the pressure off. You're surrounded by great people, and we all have the same goal. We may have different ideas about how to get there on a given day, but there is that strong shared sense of purpose. So.
And where would you say the majority of your time is concentrated? I mean, this summer's been a little bit of an anomaly, I guess, with fire and water and evacuation concerns. But ongoing, there's the issue of affordable housing and density and finances, the trail system, the town hall area, development, all those things. I mean, a lot of different things that are all sort of priority items. Where do you think you spend the majority of your time as mayor? Which of those sort of areas, or is it spread out pretty evenly?
I would say it's spread out pretty evenly because they all do impact one another. So, we have the Town Hall Sub-Area Project underway right now, and Natalie Binder and Bruce McIntyre are council representatives there, and they're looking at everything in that town hall area, from creating a park to realigning the road to affordable housing, and is there a way that we can get in more childcare? And so many of these projects are very similar to that, where you're not making one choice. These projects, they all impact one another, and everything needs to be analyzed from a financial point of view as well as impact, and do you have too much density in one spot, and what can you do to make the transition not so jarring to the community as possible. And I think that's a really good example of how it's all integrated together, these issues.
And do you feel like you're sort of well suited for the job? Do you think your background has helped contribute to your success as mayor, or is there something you wish you had in your sort of quiver coming into it that you didn't?
Media training would have been nice.
You're getting that. It's on the job training right here, right now.
Exactly. No, I came from the medical device industry, and I was in clinical research, and I was in charge of a team of engineers and, animal scientists and clinicians. And I think that that's given me a great opportunity to learn how to work with a multifaceted team and to bring it all together and take everyone's strengths and really optimize it. And at the same time find out, okay, when can I give a little more in any one given direction to bolster the team? Right. So it's worked out well.
One of the things I've always heard about good management is the key is to surround yourself by people who are as or more smart and competent than you are.
Absolutely.
And I heard from Kathrine Warren, just a little unknown secret about you, that you speak Farsi.
I do. My mother's Iranian. I'm first generation here on that side, and my father is American.
Right.
So, I grew up speaking Farsi, and we had a little small Iranian community there, so
that's so cool.
That's how I grew up.
Really something that every small town mayor should have in their quiver of talents.
Absolutely, especially in an area like Telluride. It comes in so handy.
Thank you very much, Laila, for being here. It's been a real pleasure to catch up with you. Wish you continuing success as mayor of Mountain Village, and we'll have you on again.
Thank you.
Sound good?
It sounds great. Thank you.
Right now, we're going to join Barbara Glanzig for Yoga with Barbara, who's going to teach us seated open hip asanas.
Hello and welcome to this mini yoga series in beautiful Telluride, Colorado. My name is Barbara Glanzig, and today we'll be looking at some hip opening asanas that you can do at any time, especially if you have a desk job and you sit a lot. So this mini series is really designed to provide you with some easy stretches that you can do throughout the day, especially when you don't have a lot of time. And as always, I want you to focus on the breath, so we're going to inhale and exhale through the nose only. Also, really honor where you are today and move with great care. All right, let's get cracking. So I want you to come to your mat or just lie down on the floor, whatever is available. Lie down on your backs, extend your legs, and then bend both knees. Bring your heels outside and your feet are a little wider than your hip, and we may have to wiggle around here a little bit. Okay, we're going to start with the right leg. So the right ankle is going to come right above the left knee. And again, I moved my left leg a little towards the midline here, just so you can feel your square in your hips. And to check that, just grab your hip bones and see what your pelvis is doing. And then just stay here. Allow the opening and the external rotation to come from deep within the hip joint. For some, this may be enough. If you want to go a little deeper, we're going to raise the left leg and bring the leg further towards the chest. Again, check in with your hips and then reach your arms through, and if you can, grab your shin. Take a deep inhale, lengthen the spine, tuck the chin, and then on your exhale, just press the leg towards your chest. Stay here. You can set your phone timer here for like 2 to 5 minutes to really get deep down into the hip. And then slowly release. And we're going to switch sides. So again, left ankle above the right knee. Stay here for a couple of minutes or at least 10 really deep breaths. As you want to move further, raise the right leg, grab your shin. On your exhale, bring the legs towards the chest. Again, set your phone timer here so you don't cheat. And try to stay here as long as you stayed on the other side. When you're ready, slowly release. Bring both legs down, place your knees together, take a couple of breaths, and then roll over to the right side. Push up to a seat, and take a couple of breaths here. So again, thank you very much for practicing with me. This is a great way to release any tension in your lower back and also to get some space into the hip joint. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.
Thanks so much, Barbara. We love seeing those short bits of yoga. If you're looking for something longer to practice at home, you can always check it out on cable channel 12, or you can see her short and long pieces on our YouTube channel. But right now, Almost Live is almost over.
And where ordinarily we would say, see you next week, this is actually our last regular episode for the summer season. So we're going to tail off into off season, but during off season, we'll show reruns of some of the highlights of the summer season. So you can still check us out morning, noon, and night on cable channel 12.
And if you missed any part of this week's episode, you can check us out on YouTube or Facebook at Telluride TV.
So goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining us this summer. We look forward to catching up with you during the off season, and we're looking forward to an exciting winter season coming up in the not too distant future.
Bye for now.